I'm not sure you guys have noticed, but there's been a severe lack of trades this NBA season. Now, given we came off of one of the most explosive off seasons trade-wise in NBA history, perhaps everybody's just content with what they have. Or perhaps there's some big moves brewing on the horizon. We've seen dynasties underperforming. We've seen frustration from star players, and we've seen other players just flat out crying for help. And perhaps rightfully so. When you're at the top of the game, when you're having a dominant year, it's only right that you want that opportunity to go chase it all. And you know that there's no better way to do it than with a solid team around you. Everybody in the NBA wants the opportunity to prove that they're the best. What better way to do it than to get some hardware in the NBA playoffs? You see, rings don't matter until they do. But that's an argument for another day. This video, we're going to be discussing 5 blockbuster NBA trades that can happen this season. But before we go any further, guys, be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. You will not want to miss another Getlikecoop video. And that's facts. I'm trying to get to 200,000 subscribers so I can go full time, guys. So be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications. I'm trying to be able to bring you guys daily videos. I've also been seeing a lot of comments on the videos that you guys have been suggesting. And honestly, I like what I'm seeing. I'm seeing a lot of people request daily highlights, and I will start to do daily highlights in the future. I just think I need a bigger subscriber base in order to start to do the daily highlight videos. So leave your suggestions for the videos you guys want to see down in the comments below. I do have a Trae Young video coming out tomorrow that should be a really good one. And honestly, if you guys enjoy this video, I will start to do trade videos for certain teams. For instance, I'll do like a video on what trades the Lakers should make, the Rockets, but it'll be a dedicated team video. Also, guys, be sure to follow my IG handle, Getlikecoop. You will not want to miss another post. I feel like we're already far enough in the NBA season to where we can see that certain players are playing above their expectations, and certain teams may want to sell high on those players. It's not a foreign concept, and we see it happen quite often, but the trick is knowing when to sell high and when a player is just developing into a big-time impact player. You see, these sell high trades, they can make or break a team. And I mean, honestly, that's just any trade in general. Remember when Hinkie sold high on Michael Carter Williams? Or when James Harden got his full potential unlocked arriving in Houston? Day one, he showed up ready to take over the H. But anyways, trading isn't always about selling high. Sometimes you just have guys that are in the wrong situation, or more or less, guys that really just need a change of scenery. One guy that comes to mind when I think of this is Lonzo Ball. He's not exactly having his best year in New Orleans, and he's somebody who comes to mind that can instantly benefit from perhaps another change of scenery. Of course, I do still think there's a decent shot that Lonzo Ball can fulfill his full potential in New Orleans. I think Lonzo Ball, for Marcus Morris and Frank, make entirely too much sense. The Pelicans are loaded with guard, and you can argue it's talent or not. They would be able to throw in some fillers to make the contracts work. You can argue E'Twaun Moore, who's a very good three-point shooter, who's probably playing one of his last seasons in New Orleans. Or you could also throw in Frank Jackson or players like that. Either or, I wouldn't call these players make or break it players for this trade. I would also assume the Pelicans may have to throw in some picks. I would probably say 2 second-round picks would do the trick because Lonzo Ball is still a player with immense talent. More or less, Marcus Morris is a great player who's having a great year in New York. He's a three-point shooter that can stretch the floor for the New Orleans Pelicans, and he can provide some much-needed spacing for Zion Williamson at the 3 or the 4 position. The Pelicans love to go small, and Marcus Morris could be a great addition for just that. You throw in Frank, and now you give the Pelicans some much-needed defense at the point guard position. Lonzo Ball has somewhat struggled on defense this year. I think it's a system thing, and Drew is at his best when he plays the 2 guard. Now, on the other hand of things, you have Lonzo Ball coming to New York. Lonzo Ball playing in New York alongside RJ Barrett sounds ideal. The Knicks need a point guard, perhaps more than anything right now. And I'm talking about a true point guard. I'm talking about a playmaker. If you get RJ Barrett and Julius Randle, a playmaker, these guys could become completely different players. Then you take into account that the Knicks do look like a team that could be drafting LaMelo Ball. You throw this all into account, and we could be looking at a completely different Knicks team next season. A lot of mocks have had LaMelo going as high as 1, and he's done everything to showcase his potential this season in the NBL. the Garden would definitely be jumping with this roster. For the next trade, I have Kevin Love going to the Celtics. A Kevin Love, Tristan Thompson trade to the Celtics makes a lot of sense. The Celtics could use some help with their front court depth, and Kevin Love seems like the perfect type of championship player, a player that can truly take a team to another level, with not only having championship experience, but also having experience being the man, somebody that can knock down big time shots, and somebody that can show you what it takes to win. Elite rebounder, very good shooter. Kevin Love is an impact player, and Tristan Thompson is phenomenal on the defensive side of the basketball. Ultimate hustle type player, another guy with that championship mentality. So I think that would be huge for the Boston Celtics, who do have some young players on the roster who are turning out to be very good. So the trade theoretically would be Love and Tristan Thompson for Theis, Gordon Hayward, Enes Kanter, and picks. Now, I'm not sure of the picks that would exactly balance out this trade the most. I think if the Celtics send maybe a first and a few seconds, or maybe 2 firsts, this trade could possibly work out very well for both sides. Hayward could be a buyout candidate, maybe unlikely because his contract is so expensive, but either way, he's another guy the Cavs could look to move, or it could just be a salary dump. I want you guys to take some time right now and let me know what trades you guys want to see happen in the NBA and what trades you guys actually think could happen. For the next trade, we have D'Angelo Russell going to the Minnesota Timberwolves for Andrew Wiggins. Now, Andrew Wiggins is having the best season of his career, and he is proving everybody wrong in the process. It's absolutely amazing to watch. But I think a Wiggins swap for D'Lo would be very interesting because we're seeing what Andrew Wiggins can do in this new Timberwolves system, which I think is very good. The Timberwolves have a players coach and somebody that actually focuses on the good side of analytics. Now, the thing is with this Timberwolves roster, I don't know currently if they have what it takes to take it to the next level. Now, if you send Andrew Wiggins to Golden State, perhaps he has another step that he can take, or he can be an instrumental piece for the Golden State Warriors next season. Maybe he can continue to prove in Golden State that he's much more than a scorer, kind of like Andre Iguodala did. Don't take the bait on this Golden State team right now. Next season, when everybody is healthy, they will be back and they will be a problem and they will return to winning. Now, as for D'Lo, D'Lo is good friends with Karl Anthony Towns, and Cat has been seen openly recruiting D'Lo in the past. I do think the T-Wolves are in a tough spot though, and I think that they would need to make a decision to bottom out. We've already seen what they could do with the Wiggins-Karl Anthony Towns duo. It might just be time for them to try something else. Now for my next trade, this one is a little intense, but I have Lauri Markkanen, Otto Porter Jr., and Zach LaVine going to the Utah Jazz for Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert. I think the Chicago Bulls severely need a culture change, honestly from top to bottom, and there'd be no better way to change the culture than getting a star player like Donovan Mitchell, but also somebody like Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert would bring the defensive intensity that this Chicago Bulls team is lacking all over the court. And now you could focus on building around Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Kobe White, who I think is not exactly in the best system for him to be successful right now. I don't think he's a good fit next to Zach LaVine, and I think he's learning a lot of bad habits. Now, the Chicago Bulls might have to attach a first to that trade. I'm not sure if they would or would not. You guys could let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now, if you're the Utah Jazz, you have Lauri Markkanen, who's not having his best season, but is a guy that has shown all-star potential while only being 22 years old. You get another star in Zach LaVine, who's also pretty young, and you get more depth in Otto Porter, who's another guy that you could flip or you could hold on to, again, to secure that depth. Then, if you're the Chicago Bulls also, you have Anthony Davis, who's becoming a free agent, who is probably likely to re-sign with the Los Angeles Lakers. But if you want to make a play for the hometown guy, this lineup looks a lot more interesting than what he would be going to if they did not make this trade, at least in my opinion. For the final trade, I have Andre Drummond going to the Atlanta Hawks for Cam Reddish, Herter, and a first-round pick. Now, This trade is somewhat interesting because the Atlanta Hawks, they want more help for Trae Young, and I'm doing a video on that tomorrow where I will go more in depth, but also you have Drummond, who's excited to test the free agency market. Drummond is a dominant rebounder, and alongside Collins, he would be the perfect fit. Trae Young would feed him easy dimes all day, Drummond would control the paint, Collins has the ability to stretch teams out to the perimeter, adding more space for Drummond and Trae to run that pick and roll. I think with Trae Young's passing ability, we would see Drummond's point per game total reach new highs. Now there probably would need to be more fillers added to fill that trade out, but remember guys, these are just my opinions on trades I think can happen this season. And unfortunately, you have to remember, NBA GMs are not always the most logical of people. Be sure to click the video on the screen right now guys. It's me going over how Devontae Graham took over the NBA for the Charlotte Hornets. Be sure to subscribe. I'm Coop, and I'm out.